Hi there, it's me Audrina Lane again, and as you can see I've decided to match my t-shirt with the wall behind me, but I'm sure you can still see me alright. Anyway, here we are again with the next chapter from my debut novel, Where Did Your Heart Go? And we're up to chapter 56, so sit back, relax and enjoy. It was a little after 7 and I could already feel butterflies coming to life inside of me. I had originally wanted to keep James waiting a bit longer, but I kept up with Charlie's fast pace. I knew she was eager to find out how the meeting had gone between Mitchell and the hotel manager. As we dropped down into the lobby of the hotel, Charlie kept staring at me. I guessed that she was trying to ascertain what my feelings were towards James and the reunion of yesterday. I couldn't begin to talk to her about it all, as I still didn't know how I yet felt. My mood kept swinging wildly from happiness and light that he was back in my life to worry and darkness that it would all go wrong again. We alighted in the reception area and looked about to see which way the bar was. I stole myself and took a deep breath as we walked through the doors together. There at the bar stood father and son, identical in physique, just different colouring. Mitchell was dark-haired, his father blonde. Charlotte skipped away from me and flew into Mitch's arms as if they had been apart for an age. I could feel my heart pounding out of control in my chest. I reached up to push aside a tendril of hair that had fallen across my face, and I could see the visible shake to my hand. How did he still manage to make me feel this way, even from this distance? I watched a smile break across his face as he looked me up and down. So slowly it felt as if he was peeling away the layers with his eyes. I could feel the blush creeping up on my cheeks as I smiled back and stepped towards him. Where that our children were watching, James moved aside and I stepped into the gap between him, Mitchell and Charlotte. "Evening, Steph, you look gorgeous," James said. "Thanks." "I like your shirt," I replied, feeling my tongue stumbling over the words. "Would you like a glass of champagne? After all, we are celebrating tonight." "Yes, that would be lovely." I watched as James pulled a bottle from the ice bucket on the bar. Blushing even more, I remembered the time we had spent playing with ice cubes. James arched his eyebrows and grinned back at me, as if he knew exactly what I was thinking. James handed glasses of champagne to all of us and raised his. "To Mitchell and Charlotte, the most fabulous dancing I have ever seen." As we clinked glasses, I watched my daughter smiling. Mitchell had his arms protectively around her, and it was clear their relationship had progressed to another level. Putting my glass down on the bar, I pulled out my phone. "Stay there," I said. I snapped a couple of shots of them, and then one of the bar staff came over. "Would you like me to take one of all of you?" she asked. I looked across at the three of them, and they all nodded. "Okay, that's very kind," I replied, handing the girl my phone. I started to head towards Charlie, but James stood aside, and I found I was standing between him and Mitchell. Standing next to James, I felt his hand resting on my shoulder, the imprint of his fingers burning through the fabric of my dress. He let them run slowly down the sleeve and onto my bare skin, and I tried not to jump at the touch. At that moment, with champagne tickling my throat with its bubbles, I just wanted to lean back into James's embrace, as if we had never been apart. Then we saw Sarah and Chris at the door of the bar, and I beckoned them over. "Champagne?" James asked, as he motioned for more glasses and another bottle. Mitchell and Charlotte moved aside slightly so they could talk privately, as I handed Sarah a glass. "Thanks, James," she said, noticing immediately how his hand had dropped from my arm. James handed the other glass to Chris, and there was a moment of silence between them. I knew how angry Chris had been when James finished with me and had not spoken to him since the New Year incident. I watched Sarah pause, as if to diffuse the situation before anything started. "Thanks, man, but I'd probably rather have a beer," Chris said. "I'm sure Charlie won't mind if I toast her with a pint." Charlie smiled across at Chris. I knew Chris still wanted to have words with James, but even he knew that now was not the time. As soon as Peter and Pam appeared, we were shown to our table. Charlie wanted to sit next to Mitch, so she took up the one side next to Pam and Peter. Across from my daughter, Sarah and Chris took the seats, which left James and I to sit opposite his parents. Being so close to him meant I was constantly aware of his body. How was I going to get through a whole meal when I knew my appetite had deserted me? Scanning the menu, I let my daughter lead the conversation as she talked about the dance competition. Mitchell joined in here and there. We all made our choices from the menu, and James ordered a couple of bottles of red and white wine for the table. "So how is Ross on Wye these days?" Peter asked. "Nothing changes there. In fact, the town is quietly dying on its feet. There are even plans to close the library and the swimming pool," I replied. "That's awful news," James said. "I have such fond memories of that pool." I blushed again at his reference to the place where it all began. "Closing libraries? That's just barbaric," Pam responded. "How can people not care about important services?" "It's not the people, Pam. They're campaigning hard to save both places. It's the council," I replied. Sarah added, "Don't get me started, Pam. It's not as if I need my job to survive, but many of my colleagues do, and it's not just Ross, it's the whole country." I could see her anger bubbling to the surface, along with the sadness at what the loss would mean to their loyal customers. "So, Stephanie, what do you do for a living?" Pam asked. "I'm a radio DJ on Love Shack Radio. It's a local station, and we tend to stick to music from the 60s through to the 90s, I explained, as our starters arrived at the table. "Yes, it's really good," James said. I turned to look at him. "Mitchell told me, so I tuned in." Now I understood his wry smile when I'd mentioned my secret admirer, as he had possibly caught some of the requests that had been made on air. The conversation died a little as we tucked into the food. My appetite, which I thought had deserted me, returned at the sight of scallops and a cheese sauce. James started to pass the wine around, and I poured myself a glass of red for a change. "So, Mitchell, how did your meeting with the hotel manager go?" I asked. "Okay, I need to give it a bit more consideration, but he'd like to run weekend breaks on certain themes, and one of them is dirty dancing." "Yes, we made an impression this morning," Charlie added. "You made an impression on a lot of people today," Sarah said. "Standing ovation, no less." "People were dancing in the aisles, just like the film," Pam said, joining in. "You two look great together when you dance." "They look great together even when they're not dancing," Peter joked. I watched Charlotte lean over and give him a peck on the cheek. "Like mother, like daughter," Peter said, looking directly at me. "I'm just not such a good dancer," I replied. "Oh, give over," James replied, taking a sip of his wine. "Steph and I can do a passable waltz." The waiters arrived with the main course, and once again I was happy to tuck in as conversation flowed around the table. "So, when did you learn to waltz?" Pam asked. "When we were away for my birthday," James said. "A lovely couple in the ballroom of the Blackpool Tower gave us a lesson." "Ah, yes, Jack and May," I recollecting their names. We exchanged a brief look as we recalled what else had happened that long weekend. "If you'll excuse me," I said, getting up from the table. Memories threatened to engulf me, so I headed for the bathroom. Sarah followed as I leaned on the counter by the mirrors. She tapped me on the shoulder. "You okay?" "Yes. Just so many memories keep surfacing. Everything just feels so surreal. I'm still struggling to get my head round it all. I know this won't help much, but I can see from the way James keeps glancing at you that he still cares very deeply," she said. She passed me a tissue as a solitary tear slipped out and kissed my hot cheek. "I know, and I guess deep down inside I still love him. I'm so scared of getting hurt again." I finally acknowledged aloud my true feelings. "Well, no one can answer that one for you. You may just have to take the courage and take the chance," Sarah replied, squeezing my shoulders as I fell into her arms for a hug. Returning to the table, the plates had been cleared, and everyone was trying to decide if they could squeeze in a dessert. As I sat back down next to James, he turned to smile at me. Is everything okay? He asked. Yes, I replied, and hid behind the menu. Charlie and Mitch were the only ones who could squeeze any more food down, so the rest of us ordered coffee. There was a commotion at the restaurant entrance, and we all turned to see what was happening. I noticed it was Arlene Phillips and one of the other judges from the competition, and they were heading in our direction. Stopping at the end of the table where Mitchell and Charlotte sat, I saw them drop their spoons in shock. Mitchell, Charlotte, sorry to interrupt your meal, but I was wondering if I could have a moment to talk to you. Mitchell stood up and reached out to shake her hand and that of the other judge. Yes, that will be fine, he stammered. Oh my God, said Sarah after they disappeared. I just can't believe I saw that. Wow, it's so exciting, Pam said, joining in. I wonder what they want to talk to them about. As I sat and joined in the conversation, I felt a soft touch on my knee beneath the table. I glanced across at James, who was still talking to his mum and dad, and feeling courageous, I placed my hand on top of his. He jumped slightly but carried on as if nothing was going on, a sparkle winking in the corner of his eye. He turned his hand over and linked his fingers through mine. Charlotte and Mitchell had been gone a while, so James decided to order some more drinks from the bar. His parents excused themselves and went back to their room, leaving just the four of us. We left the table and found a couple of comfy sofas in the corner. So what would you like to drink? James asked. I'll get these, Chris said, standing up. Ooh, gin and tonic, Sarah said. Same for me, thanks. I'll come and help, James said, leaving the two of us alone on the sofa. So have you decided what to do yet? Sarah asked as we both watched James and Chris exchange heated words at the bar. No. Sarah and I watched as they both returned. Sitting together, it almost felt like old times again, except for the slight atmosphere that lingered in the air, of all things unspoken. We watched as Chris put his arm around Sarah's shoulders opposite us, whilst I sat slightly apart from James on the other and sipped my drink. Before the silence became uncomfortable, we heard laughter and saw Charlie and Mitch re-enter the bar. I held my hand up so they could see us, and after stopping at the bar to get a drink, they came over. Chris pulled up a large armchair, and Mitch dropped gracefully into it, whilst Charlotte perched on the arm. And that's where I'm going to have to leave you. So you're going to have to wait till the next chapter to find out what Arlene Phillips wanted. Will it be good news for Charlotte and Mitchell? And will Stephanie and James finally decide they're going to get back together? Let's hope so anyway. So, if you can't wait till the next instalment, you do remember that my book can be bought on Amazon. The ebook copy is only 99p or 99 cents, which I think is a bargain really. And you can buy a paperback directly from them. But if you want one signed by me, then please pop over to my website, which is www.audrinalane.co.uk, and I'd be more than happy to arrange to sell you one and sign it and post it as well. In the meantime, don't forget you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Let me know what you're thinking, and yeah, pop a little comment on the video clip on YouTube here. And that's it from me for now. I'm off to have a shower. So take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.